Okay, at 11:47, one of our patrol officers called into dispatch, smoke coming out from, I can't believe it's yogurt. Fire department got here shortly thereafter. What we found in the back there was we found 4 victims. We're handling it as a homicide right now because it appears that one of the victims was struck in the head.
Were the victims together, or were they in different parts of the building?
No, I can't. Can't give you that either.
Were they bound in any way?
Can't give you that.
Was there any sign of forced entry to the building?
Can't give you that.
What can you give us?
Just what I gave you. It's still very early in the investigation, okay?
You are now listening to The World Within.
The World Within.
With your hosts, Christian and Ethan.
Hey, and welcome to the World Within podcast with your host. I'm Christian.
I'm Ethan.
We just want to reiterate thank you to all the listeners. Thank you for everyone that's been following us on all our social medias.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I'm surprised how many views we have on YouTube and like how many downloads we've had so far.
Yeah, we've been doing a really good job. I'm digging it, man.
Yeah,
thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah, so also our social medias, a lot of people have been following them. Go give them a check out. If you want to stay up to date on all of our information, we have our Twitter, we have our Facebook page, and we have our Instagram account. We can go give those a check out. And then we have our Apple Podcasts, which is now out. It wasn't out last, but now it's out. If you go give it a review, give it a listen, give it a review after.
Give us a 5-star review. If not, just don't give us a review.
Listen, if you give us a 5-star review, I'll send you a picture. Add me on Snapchat. I'll send you a little something.
Yes, you can add us on Snapchat at The World Within 0. We'll send you a gift if you add us. So we started a Patreon also. We have stickers and t-shirts if you guys want to join. Give it a look. We worked pretty hard at this, and we're pretty excited. We're actually both wearing our World Within t-shirts right now.
Yep, we're both wearing them.
So we're going to be talking 2 episodes a week.
Yeah, so we're interested in moving to 2 episodes a week. We really enjoy doing the podcast. We want to put out a lot of content for you guys to listen to give it a watch. We're also maybe thinking about filming a few episodes.
Yeah, so you guys just let us know on the social medias, whatever you're following, Instagram, Facebook,
comment under the YouTube.
Yeah, comment under YouTube. Just let us know what you think. If you think it's a good idea, if you think you don't want to see our ugly faces, I don't blame you, but we'll see. You guys might have to endure that.
Yeah, I mean it's up to you guys,
So today's topic, Ethan, it's going to be a pretty heavy one. It's pretty dark.
Yeah, that's an understatement. This was very hard to learn about.
Yeah, the research process, chill bumps literally the whole time, like literally.
It's just disgusting what happened.
And under that, let's talk about shout out to Chloe Carnes for giving us this topic. She DM'd us on Instagram and I knew nothing about this, so thanks for bringing it to light.
Yeah, I also knew nothing about this until just recently.
All right, so let's dive in. So this is the yogurt shop murders that happened at the I Can't Believe It's Yogurt shop in Austin, Texas, December 6, 1991.
Right, so this was a huge story in Austin. It still is to this day. It's one of the biggest cases in the city of Austin, which is crazy. I mean, Austin's not a small town.
Not at all, yeah. And we were more advanced, at least, with all of our forensics and everything in 91, I'd say, compared to our last episode, which you can check out, Roanoke.
Yeah, I mean, it's made quite a leap in the 400 years time in between those two. But so this is there was 4 teenage girls here that were 2 of them were the workers at this yogurt shop.
Right. So around slightly before midnight, a police officer saw that the yogurt shop was on fire. So he called the firefighter, and they extinguished the fire. And once the fire went out, they discovered the body of these 4 girls.
Right, and I'm assuming the police officer just thought it's midnight, probably just one of the machines or something in the store caught on fire, and it just burnt the place down, but what they found inside was truly horrifying.
So our victims here are Amy Lee Ayres. She's 13 years old. We have Eliza Hope Thomas, 17 years old. Jennifer Ann Harbson, she was 17 years old, and her younger sister, she was 15 years old, named Sarah Louise Harbson.
Yeah, so Jennifer and Elise, they were the workers, and so her sister and her friend, they were at the mall, and they were just, doing their shopping because they were heading back. They were at the yogurt shop because they were going to get a ride back to the girls' home and have a sleepover.
Yeah, it was going to be a big sleepover. They were looking forward to this, and that didn't work out that way, I guess. So police immediately knew that it was a homicide when they found a head wound on at least one of the girls. But we have to remember here, like, this place was on fire. Like, these bodies were burnt,
Yeah,
so
they were
to tell.
completely just, like, burnt to ash. Except one of the girls was away from the other 3.
Right.
They only received 2nd-degree burns on her body.
Right. So they were last officially seen at 10 p.m. that night, and it's believed that one of the girls had been raped, and 3 of the girls' bodies were stacked on top of each other, completely naked. And Amy Ayres was the one that was farther away, and she was found dead somewhere else in the store.
Right, she was found, but so all the girls were found with 22 caliber bullet wounds in the back of their heads. But Amy, the one who was found farther away, she was found with 2 bullet holes.
Right. Amy had also a sock-like cloth around her neck, which none of the other girls had. And all of them were shot in the head by a .22 bullet.
Right.
Which, I mean, not a high caliber pistol bullet.
Right. But the thing about 22 is when it does get inside of a person, when it does puncture in, it ricochets, unlike a high caliber, which will just
goes
shatter,
clean through. Right.
Goes clean through.
A 22 bullet, a 22 gun is cheaper also.
Right.
So you're kind of looking. This is the thing about this is it's kind of like these guys look like they were pros, guys or girl, or it's unsolved, so we don't know the actual person, but they seem like they were pros at times, and they also seem like they were a little not like cheaper, I guess you could say.
I mean, yeah, 22 I feel like is a common, more easily accessible
right
to get.
But so one of the victims, Sarah, her hands were tied behind her back with a pair of panties, and she'd been gagged and raped. Jennifer was not bound, but her hands were behind her back when they found her body. Eliza was gagged, and her hands were tied behind her back. And like we said before, Amy was found elsewhere.
So the police, they believe that Amy survived the initial attack because they believe the bullet went through the back of her head but didn't injure her brain at all. And they believe the second shot is what killed her.
Right, so they believe that they stacked all the 4 girls on top of each other.
Right.
And they believe that Amy didn't die initially while the suspects were still inside the building, and they saw her crawling away or something and then finished.
They used gasoline to set the place on fire. So I'm gonna say that they were probably putting gasoline on everything, and she was in such a state of shock and awe and everything that just happened to her. She just tried to crawl away, and they found her crawling away.
So it's believed that the killers also stole $540 out of the cash register, and Jennifer and Eliza closed the store around 11. That was like their official close time was 11. And the police noticed at 11:03 that the cash register had an open cell on it, which just basically opens the cash register. And that was 3 minutes later. And that's when they believe that they stole the money.
about $540 is such a disgusting amount of money for them to be able to rape and murder 4 young girls in this store.
Yeah, and young. I mean, and so one of the things that went down was a retired police officer had suspicion on an individual that he saw at the yogurt store around like 9:30. He was wearing an army jacket, which who wears an army jacket unless they're in the army? Which is just weird to even be kind of like, I don't know. It's weird attire to me, I guess, at a yogurt store at 9:30 at night. I don't know.
So the police officer, he was retired. He's already out of it. But this guy, he was so the police officer was at the store. He was at the yogurt shop. And this
Enjoying yogurt
guy,
at 9:30 at night, which people do.
Yeah, 9:30 is reasonable.
I mean,
after
9:30,
9:30
is just a little weird to me.
Yeah, it's
you guys let us know, like, in the comments or whatever, like, do you guys have yogurt at 9:30 at night or later? Because this place closes at 11. Like, that just seems late to me. But anyways,
so the guy with the suspect, he was, being rowdy, you could say, and he just went into the back of the store without asking permission or anything, because there was bathrooms back there. And the retired police officer was like, what's happening right now? This guy he needs to be put in his place, he needs to
you need to say something.
Leave.
Right.
So he goes up to the girl and he's like, what's happening? And she says that he's just taking a piss. Which, I mean,
maybe it makes me kind of think that he's been to this store more than once to know that there's a bathroom in the back.
What is important to me, I think, is how she said he's just taking a piss. Because she could be, if she was like laughing it off, like he's one of her friends that she knows or something. Right. That's one thing. But if she's like, oh, he's just annoyed, or like, I'm not going to do anything because I don't want to have an altercation here and get in trouble for my boss or something.
Right.
Like, just let him go pee or whatever. If that's what happened, then this is the guy.
Right.
You need to look into this guy.
Right. But then once he exited the bathroom, he sat back down with another unidentified man as well. Right. So 2 guys, kind of very suspicious in a way, Right. I have 2 guys at a yogurt shop isn't suspicious, but just kind of the erratic behavior.
If me and you went to a yogurt shop, a few retired police officers would ask us a few questions.
That's probably true. I mean,
but that's all right.
Yeah, whatever at that point. But so retired police officer left, everyone else left, but these 2 guys stayed around till 10:47, which is, I mean, that's over an hour. These guys have been just hanging out at this place.
Right. So, I mean, it's one thing if they're friends. That's the big thing, which we'll never know.
Right, we won't know.
But the thing is, if these 2 guys are unidentifiable, what happened to these guys? If they were the friends of them, you'd think they would come forward, right? Like we were with.
Yeah, we were these 2 guys. But also, I don't know, because like if I were those 2 guys and those were my friends, in high school or whatever, and like all this shit was going down, and
it's too late now.
You don't want to make yourself a suspect, so you kind of want to keep quiet, maybe, in a way. I don't know, and especially since it was unsolved, like you don't want to be like, oh yeah, we were the guys that were over there.
At this point, it's not a good look for them to come forward.
Right.
But I mean, if I was in that situation, I would be like, I saw them at 10:47. They were fine. Or like we were leaving, because I mean you could get quite a lot of information from these 2 people.
Right,
you could be like
yeah,
we were because if everyone else was gone, I mean maybe those 2 guys saw some people outside,
right, and
saw like
the cash register opened at the believed robbery at 11:03, and these guys left at 10:47. That's a short window that someone could have came in and done all this. Like that takes time to do what they did.
Yeah.
But
So I mean, these two are really the key to breaking this thing wide open.
right, exactly.
But I mean, they're unidentified to this day. No one knows who they are.
Which I mean, usually we want to like be like, oh, come on, the police didn't do enough investigation. They didn't work hard enough. But we're talking over 50 people admitted to this crime, and police had 342 suspects at one given time.
Right. So I mean, a very common thing you'll see, especially in this case, is forced confessions.
Yes,
Which
that
is
huge.
I mean, it's such a, as a police officer, how could you force, like, that's not justice at all. You're putting,
Right.
you're literally committing a crime.
They want, at the end of the day, they just want to solve this as soon as possible so they can be rewarded as heroes in this.
Right.
But at the end of the day, these guys all look like idiots, you know?
Right.
Like, come on, you're going to force a confession and then get, like, you're literally, these guys were, well, there was a camera in the room while they were doing the investigation. Like,
Right, like, what are you
think
thinking?
you weren't going to get busted for this? Like, I don't know. But anyways, let's go into the suspects here, Ethan. So, our first two suspects that they believed were these two guys from Mexico, Porfirio Villasavdra. Did you know that name? That's a tough name.
It's a hard one to pronounce.
He was 23, and he actually was a I can't believe it's yogurt store employee.
Yeah, he would deliver the product to them. I believe was his job. He was a delivery boy.
Right.
So I'm assuming he would be delivering the yogurt products to them.
So he kind of knows these girls, though.
A little bit, you'd
And
assume.
So him and his buddy, Alberto Cortez, they were both 22, 23 area. They confessed to these.
Yeah, well, so the thing is, as I just said, forced confessions is the big thing
Is
here.
the big thing
So
here.
they were both from Mexico. They were Mexico natives. So they were apprehended and arrested in Mexico. And the Mexican police forced a confession out of them by taking a water bottle and then putting cayenne pepper in the water bottle and then spraying it into their nose until they would confess, pretty much.
That doesn't seem too pleasant.
I mean, we should try it.
We should try it. Maybe a YouTube video, potentially.
Listen,
What about
100
trying that
likes, 100 likes, I'll do it right here.
But yeah, so Mexican police forced it, and they got busted. So these guys were set free. Their confessions were null and void. Moving on, pretty much.
Pretty much. So these guys weren't, but they weren't great people. These two guys.
Yeah, at the end of the day, they weren't great people because they were also convicted
of I believe it was rape and murder of a Austin woman.
No,
So-
I don't think they raped her. I think it was an
was just a
abduction.
murder.
It was an abduction.
Oh, it was just an abduction.
and they raped her, but they let her go.
Okay.
Which I think is big information, because if they've already kidnapped and raped before, but they didn't kill her,
but they have
that's
the
big.
potential to do it. So it's
That's
something.
true. That is true, but they're not known killers, at least.
All right.
So we could move on to the big suspects
So
here.
you're right. The big one is Maurice and his
His goons.
the Ghastly Four.
The
is what
Ghastly
I'll say.
Four.
So Maurice, Robert, and Forrest, and Michael Scott. Not the Michael Scott everyone knows.
Yeah, we love that Michael Scott. We do
Michael
not love this
Scott.
Michael Scott.
From NBC's The Office, of course. Not that one. See, these were, if you think about the 90s and like the troublemakers, like the
Trailer trash. Just go out.
Trailer
Just go out and say
trash.
trailer trash.
trailer trash, the ones who have like a switchblade in their pocket, wear like a leather vest,
what we
think they're
call them in the
badasses.
2020s as douchebags.
Yeah, well, these guys were the ones with like mullets, bad acne, like they look gross. They look like they probably haven't showered, probably live in the sewers for a little bit.
Yeah, and if you guys are listening,
Abusive,
you guys,
alcoholic.
they're all piece of shits. So
none of them are very good people, I'd say. None of them really.
So this really all started. Maurice Pierce, he was busted by the police because he was showing off his .22 pistol. You hear that, Ethan? .22 pistol at a nearby mall.
Interesting. I mean, why would you just like? What are you getting from this, Maurice?
He was 17. He probably took it from his dad or got it somehow. He has this gun somehow, and he's probably
he's like,
showing
"Oh,
it
look
off
at
with his
me."
buddies. Yeah, I'm tough. So they busted him, and he admitted he said it was me and my 3 friends. Whatever, we were having a good time. He said that they stole a car and went on a joyride the day after the murders. That's what they were busted for, or initially, all 4 of them.
If you think about it, you just did this. You think you and your buddies, you're on top of the world. Let's go do some crystal meth, steal a car, go on a joyride. Because that's probably what they were. These guys were if humanity was like a barrel, you scrape the bottom of that, that's what these guys would be. They might be worse than that.
Yeah, I'm about to say, like, I think you're giving credit to the bottom of the barrel right there.
That's true.
But, so we'll go back to those guys. They investigated just slightly here a serial killer, Kenneth McDuff. He was in the nearby area during the time of these murders, and he was known to kill teenage girls, and he admitted to the crimes.
So, the thing I'll say, this happens all the time. The police and the serial killers even will try and just take credit for anything, because a lot of serial killers care about one thing, and that's their story.
Right.
Like, they care about the infamy of them.
Right.
And when you confess to a murder, you might be able to get a stay of execution, which this guy was going to be executed and did get executed. In
1998.
So that's something, and the police will always try and get a guy. If they can get a guy, you're the hero. You solve the case.
And
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's easy when it's a serial killer who, he's done this. He's done something kind of like this.
Yeah, so you
can fit him.
It's something that, regardless, you have to investigate.
It's something you have to.
You just have to.
But it's at a certain point, you have to realize this is just, nothing. This is
not plausible.
Worth nothing to me.
So, in 1999... they arrested the 4 guys that were the troublemakers, the gruesome 4.
Right. This is 4 years later, or not 4, my bad. 8 years later.
8 years later. So September 14th, 1999, police took a written confession from Michael Scott. He said that all 4 of them murdered the girls, which, if we're talking 8 years later, and it's still weighing on this guy's soul, like, hey, we did it. It has to be that. That should be. Yep. Investigate this.
You would think that.
Figure this out.
See,
yeah.
This is something. You confess. He's like, we did this. This is how it happened. But there's a catch here.
So they went after all 4 guys. Due to lack of evidence, Maurice Pierce and Forrest Wellborn, their charges were dropped.
And Maurice is probably, this guy is going to be burning in the deepest pits of hell.
Yeah, we believe that he was kind of the leader of the group.
Even if he didn't do this, he's a bad person, and he's not. He's capable of doing this easily.
Yeah, and you'll find out more reasons why. So Robert Springston and Michael Scott, they were charged though. This went to trial. These 2 guys went to trial here.
Which is interesting that the 2 people who confessed of doing this are the ones who got time in prison, but the 2 guys who didn't are the ones who
get free due to lack of evidence. Hey, maybe they had better lawyers, whatever.
Yeah,
so what I was watching, and Robert Springsteen's little fucking, in his little interrogation there, He said that, yes, I did rape one of those girls, and they're like, oh, who was it? And he's like, I don't know. I just remember raping them. And the other guys were like, shoot her, shoot her, shoot her. And he's like, I didn't shoot him. I didn't have the balls to. But he's admitting to this stuff going down.
Right. But I mean, there's a certain point when it's like a psychology fact that when you, if you're like interrogating someone and you pound it into their head that this is them and that they did it, and like you tell them the details that you wouldn't normally know, and you like pound it into their head, your brain will start like creating fake memories in your head that this might be something that you've done.
Which is, I don't know about you, but if I was in an interrogation room and a crime went down and I had no clue of it besides what I saw in the news.
But these guys were from Austin.
I mean, yeah, but if this happened where we're from and we go downtown and they interrogate us, I don't know this crime. I don't really know what went down. I'm not going to admit to anything. I'll be like, what the hell am I being interrogated for, you know?
But so I believe it was Michael Scott who they were questioning him and telling, and like they're like, what were you like? Tell us that you did it. We know you were there. And he's like, I wasn't there. This isn't me. If you think this is me, okay, what are we gonna do next?
That was Robert. That one was Robert. Yeah, because Michael Scott's the one that kind of admitted to it,
right?
And I remember Michael Scott. They're like, oh, what went down? What went down? And he's like, I don't remember even walking into the store. And they're like, yes, you do. I think that's what you were trying to get is yes, so you do. We know you walked into that store. And he's like, I don't really remember it though.
And they're like, you do. We know we just tell us what happened. We know it was you. We know you were there. Your friends are fucking you over. Just fuck them. To tell us what happened.
Yeah, that typical interrogation saying, oh yeah, they're saying you were the killer.
But
and
there's
like,
something in this interrogation with Michael Scott that, you know, might not be
great.
Might not be great for it.
But here in Michael Scott, when they were interrogating him, he said that Maurice Pierce said that Michael Scott was saying that Maurice Pierce held the gun and gave it to Michael Scott and said, kill them or you're next. Basically, he said, do it or you're next. And then he said that Robert was cheering him on and saying, do it. Which, what I got from all these guys' interrogation is, and what makes sense, it makes sense that they did it, but it was always the other guy. The other guy did it. The other guy did
always
it.
Putting blame.
I might have raped her, but the other guy killed her. The other guy did it. I was forced to do it, kind of thing.
Right. And Maurice, in both of their interrogations, Maurice seems to be like the ringleader of it, the one who decided to do it.
Right. And he was the one that was busted with the .22 pistol.
Right.
At the mall.
Is,
so,
I mean...
so Robert was sentenced to death row and Michael just got life in prison.
Right, which, I mean, in this day and age, what's the difference?
Honestly, yeah. So during the confession of Michael, the investigators held a gun to the back of his head. Let's go into that, Ethan.
So the detective here, he not good at his job. Just do your job. Okay, if you just do your job, this might be solved already.
Right. So yeah, Detective Hector Polanco. This guy, I'm gonna go out here and say he's a piece of shit too. Even though he's on the other side of this crime, he's a piece of shit too.
He's a terrible detective.
Horrible. He held the gun to the back of his head.
Michael Scott's head. He held the gun to the back of Michael Scott's head.
And he ended up getting fired for this, which is pretty crazy. But what's even more crazy is Detective Polanco was later reinstated because he sued the state for discrimination because he was from a Mexican background. So he was reinstated he got promoted later on, and now he's retired with a full pension. What a piece of shit.
you know, and I believe I was reading that he also got in trouble earlier for coercing confessions, right?
That is correct. He coerced a confession of two other men that resulted for them. It was a murder of some sort, and both those guys got 13 years and they got life in jail, but they served for
they got out.
13 years, and then it was like, oh, these guys didn't do it. Come to find out, piece of shit, Detective Polanco coerced the whole thing. Still didn't get in trouble though. That's pretty cool.
And so to continue on this case, Michael, Scott, and Robert, they both got out of prison because of this forced confession. They still are suspects in this case. It's still an open case.
Right.
I saw that in the county office for the police department, where the yogurt shop was.
Mhm.
They have the pictures of the four girls, and they have like the descriptions on the wall that's the first thing they see when they come in. That's the first
Wow.
thing they see when they leave. They have the whole crime scene like mapped out on the
Just right there.
table to remind them that this is something that we can never have happen again.
Yeah,
in our-
they dropped the ball on this
Yes.
hardcore. So Robert and Michael, they both were in prison for 10 years though before these charges got dropped.
So Detective Plonko, I mean, what a terrible name! Like,
I would want to. I would
Bro.
punch him. I would want to punch him.
right? Like, what a dick. No, honestly, a dick bag might be worth more to humanity than this.
Right. This dude, a lot of people have suffered due to this guy's aggressive techniques.
That's 23 years combined sentencing at least.
Right.
Like,
and
there
one-
might be more that we don't even know.
Right. And once you're in prison, like, you become a changed person, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're
I've never
changed.
been in prison, but I know that you're probably a changed person
Oh
right
yeah,
afterwards.
for sure. You have
In
to.
13 years, I can't even imagine
That's 13 years of your
and
life
being
just
innocent. You
gone.
knowing you're innocent.
Right.
Just crazy. So in 2006, both Robert and Michael, their cases got overturned, but they weren't even released until 2009, which is just crazy how long of a process that took to, we got it overturned, but we have to wait 3 years until you're
Right.
done, you know?
So there was 3 years, and then 2009 they were released, and so they're both still detectives. They were released because of the forced confession. So
Right.
it's not. I mean, you can't 100% be like it was them. So there was reasonable doubt, you could say.
Right.
So, but they can still be tried again for the murder. They're
Correct.
still like a main suspect in
Right.
the case because it's not closed. It's not. I mean, they're still doing it. I mean, there's still evidence. There's still people who know something. out
Right, and
there.
this
like
was-
the two individuals, we don't know who they are. We could, if we find that out one day, this could be a closed case.
It's
But
crazy.
so back to Maurice.
Back to the buddy Maurice.
Maurice is not great. So
We need to pound it in your guys' heads. Maurice Pierce, piece of shit.
Maurice, he was pulled over in a traffic stop. And I'm just going to go on off of a whim here and say he was so hopped up. This man looked like he was doing crystal meth probably every day.
And he probably was. He probably was.
He probably was. I mean, he's not great. And so Maurice, he was pulled over in 2010 for a traffic stop, you know. And when the police pulled him over, he got out and he just ran. And it was there's two
Which
police
is
officers.
good. That's good reasoning, you know. Just hey, I got pulled over. Let me
Let me
fucking
just
take off.
run.
Which police love that. I'm sure they do.
Yeah. So he takes off. There's two police officers. One police officer caught up to him, and it was the older cop, of course.
Yeah,
you know.
it was an older cop.
Badass. I mean, this guy is just badass.
Yeah, I didn't write down his name, unfortunately. I should have, but this guy's a tough motherfucker.
he belongs in like one of the manly bars. Like he'll be able to
The Salty
throw
Splatoon?
He's in the Salty Splatoon Hall of Fame, I guarantee. So this guy, he caught up to Maurice, the piece of shit, and they got in a little bit of a scuffle, and Maurice took out a knife and stabbed the police officer in the throat. Or the
Right.
neck.
Right. Which that's
I thought that would just kill you.
right. I would not want to find out if it will kill you or not, which he did.
This might
He
be
found out.
that might be a YouTube video.
Yeah, check out 500 likes and I'll do it.
Knife to the neck. But so he gets stabbed, which I mean, at that point, I'm assuming that his adrenaline just went skyrocketing.
Yeah,
This guy
that-
just became not a guy you want to fuck with. And
Right.
so he took out his firearm after getting stabbed and shot and killed Maurice.
Finally, Maurice Pierce was dead.
And I guess this is one thing we'll never know if Maurice did it, but we still have the 3 others are still alive.
Right.
So maybe one day we'll find out if Maurice was involved. But I am glad. I don't want to. I never want to be glad someone's dead. But in this situation, Maurice, I am glad that you are fucking dead.
You're not on this earth anymore. Yeah. Thank God.
Thank this officer.
Yes, thank this officer once we get his name. All right, so we're back. We got the officer's name. Austin Police Officer Frank Wilson.
Frank Wilson, badass name, first of all.
Badass name.
If you're going to have 2 first names, Frank Wilson, great combination.
Great combination. So at the end of the day, Frank Wilson is the true hero, even though this was way far, not even really honestly related to these crimes, but
Thank
you,
if
Frank
Frank Wilson was on the front line of this case, it would have been solved.
it would have been solved, honestly, probably
These
day
girls
one.
would still be alive, I think, if Frank Wilson was around.
Yeah, he would be able to predict the future, and
He's a badass. He's a certified badass.
yeah.
Listen, if someone knows Frank Wilson out there, send us some information. We'll send him a certified badass necklace. It'll
Yeah,
be dope.
we'll get him that necklace. We'll interview him. We'll edit it
interview him.
in too. So that's pretty much the end of this case.
It's still going on
It's still
today.
going on, but
the as I just said, I mean, that's their biggest case that they're trying to get solved to this day. Like
Right.
that is something that's huge in that community.
right. All right, so that's going to be the end of that. I just want to say thank you again. I will never stop saying thank you for all the follows, all the reviews, only the good reviews.
Yeah, so we get excited for literally every follower.
Literally,
review,
yeah. Every
everything.
follower, I get so hyped. And reviews, I like run over to Ethan. I'm
Yeah,
like, oh my God.
This morning he opened my door, ran in, showed me the reviews.
I was still in my boxers and everything. It was kind of weird, but
We went to get some frozen yogurt.
ooh,
after.
too soon.
Too
Too
soon.
soon.
I mean, it wasn't 9:30 a.m. We were
Yeah, we
getting at
didn't
a
look weird.
respectable time.
Right. A non-suspicious time.
We didn't do anything bad. We just got frozen yogurt in our boxers. All right. We're
Yeah,
not
that was it.
criminals.
Sometimes you just wake up, you want frozen yogurt, and you just don't want to put on clothes because it's such a drag. And we live here in Phoenix where
It's
it's
hot.
118 degrees. You know,
It's like 7 a.m. It's already 120 degrees outside. Like, I don't want to put on shorts.
you run the potential risk of getting your clothes melted to your skin, and that just doesn't seem like a pleasant thing to me.
Yeah, I mean, not gonna happen here. You know.
So thank you again. Just be sure to send this to everyone in your family, all your
Listen,
friends.
That one guy out there, I know you have that great aunt Helga. She would love all of our episodes here.
She
Make
would.
sure to send that to her great aunt Helga. If you're out there listening, I love you. Make sure to tune in next week for our next episode.
Yes, and send it to whatever your best friend's hamster. He might enjoy it.
He might. I mean, you never know. I mean, animals enjoy listening to things too.
And especially us. We're like
I'm
pet
actually
whisperers.
Yeah, I believe I'm special. I was born special.
And baby whisperers too, I've heard.
I was told my whole adolescence that I was special. I was in special classes in school and everything.
Yeah, I think I accidentally dropped him when I was like 5, so
I can
it makes
speak
sense.
to animals, so
So that it gave him abilities.
give me abilities. Some might consider it unnatural.
But check out our Twitter, check out our Instagram, check out our Facebook. I have the shirts and the stickers uploaded on that, so if you want to
Patreon.
check it out,
Yes. /The World Within.
Check it out. We're gonna start doing shout outs at each episode for just cheap, man. We're real cheap here.
Listen, I know you go and get your $1 fountain soda from Quick Trip or wherever your go-to gas station is, just cut it back. Maybe give us the money, get a shout out.
We will help you shave some extra pounds. And your name's going to be on this? Not that any of you guys need it.
You guys are all beautiful.
But I would take a shout out on this cool podcast over
your name
32
is
ouncer.
Memorized in history.
And then once we're as big as Joe Rogan here, then you're going to be one of the OG
Joe
names.
Rogan.
I want to go on the record and say I do not like Joe Rogan.
Listen, but if Joe Rogan wants us on his podcast,
then I love you,
just
Joe
hit me
Rogan.
up. Joe, I'll join you. I'll talk about. I know you like conspiracies, Joe.
Yes, while doing DMT and other crazy drugs.
Joe, I'll do DMT with you and talk about the craziest conspiracies you ever even heard of. All right, so thank you guys for listening.
Thank you.
Everyone, that offer from last episode still on the table here for if you send it. So thank you for listening. Make sure to give us a review if you like this episode.
And even if you don't like it, just throw out a 5-star and we'll give you something cool.
If you have me on Insta or Snapchat, you'll get that special message, if you just add us.
I'm not sure if you guys will want that, but
you'll want it, you'll really want it. But anyways, thank you. Come back soon for our new episode that might be coming a bit sooner than you think.
Ooh. All right, well, you guys enjoy.
Adios.
Thank you for listening to The World Within.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all you do.
Join our Patreon, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and catch us next week. Thank you.